Hey there, friends. Welcome to episode 214 of SelfKind with me, Erica Webb. Today, we are diving into talking about whether or not you are doing your best and what to do when you feel like your best isn't quite good enough. So today's episode is one that I've been thinking about literally for months. I listened to Brene Brown's podcast, and months ago, I heard an episode where she told a story about talking to a therapist about something that had happened. And the therapist asked her, do you think it's possible that that person was doing their best? And when Brene's therapist asked her this question, Brene Brown kind of reported that she was a bit like, what do you mean? Of course they're not doing their best. They are absolutely falling short. And it led to a whole bunch of introspection on her part, and it led to a whole lot of conversations with other people around this idea of are people trying their best? Are people doing the best with what they've got? And Brene Brown went on to ask this question of loads and loads of people, and she found out something really interesting. And this has been what's been playing on my mind and what I've been kind of contemplating and thinking about for literally months. And what she found was that people who believe that other people are doing their best also tend to be the people who are more likely to show themselves compassion. And the people who are less likely to say, yeah, I think people are trying their best, as in, they believe that, no, actually people aren't trying their best. They're intentionally, falling short. Were less likely to show themselves compassion. They were more likely to be hard on themselves. And I think this is really interesting. How does the way that we think about other people's behavior kind of point to us or point out to us how we might be relating to ourselves? And so I want to ask that question to you today. It's a question that I've asked now of, my husband and I have had quite a few conversations about this. It's a question that I ask myself regularly. Do you think that people are generally trying their best? And do you think that you are generally trying your best? What this speaks to is the fact that there are skills that we have as humans that help us to navigate the world, to navigate our relationships, both with ourselves and with other people. And that these are buildable, right? That we can build on these skills, that we can learn new skills, that we can become more skilled in these areas. And that at different points in our lives, we have more or less skills and we are utilizing them in the best way that we can, given what is going on for us. Now, I do believe that people are generally trying their best. I think that with the skills available to us, the pressures upon us, all of those things taken into account mean that we are, on the whole, doing the best we can with what we've got. Where I keep going in my mind with this contemplation, though, is what about those times then where your best just doesn't seem good enough, right? And I think that you will relate to this. I think that this will be very relatable because you can believe that, I'm trying my best, but gosh, my best seems to fall very short of what I would like it to be. Because I'm not showing up for relationships the way that I would like. I'm not showing up for myself the way that I would like. I'm not managing to fit in the, exercise and the movement and the self-care that I would like. My house is a mess. All of those things. So what do we do when we, perhaps believe or we're willing to at least try on the idea that, yes, we're trying our best, but when our best doesn't really feel like it's meeting our needs in the moment, right? Or overall. How do we do better without making ourselves wrong, without making ourselves a problem? How do we do this without making ourselves feel like crap? How do we do this without kind of shitting on ourselves for barely feeling like we're keeping our head above the water? And so I've got some tips. I have. Let's have a look. I've got a few. I've got about 5. Because I think that the thing here is that sometimes there is that moment where you're like, wow, I am trying my best, but my best isn't what I want. Like this is not what I want my best to look like, right? I want to be able to show up for self-care. I want to be able to show up more calm in my relationships. I want to be able to feel more resilient in the face of whatever is going on. So how do we do that without making ourselves feel like a problem? So the first tip is, of course, to meet yourself with self-compassion and kindness. It has to start there. We want to move towards the carrot that is self-compassion and kindness in our values, rather than moving away from like that self-flagellation stick that says, you're not good enough, you never will be good enough, and you just got to try harder. Because here's the thing, if you are doing your best, then how is trying harder going to go? Because if you're already trying your best, there's a chance that you have nothing more to give, right? Given how things are right now. So here's where step 2 comes in. We have to be clear about what it is we want to be different. So if you think about this in the context of, okay, I'm willing to try on this idea that I am doing my best, and I don't feel like my best is enough right now because I don't feel the way that I would like to feel. I am stressed, I am tense, I am in pain, I am suffering in some way. Then what is it that you want to be different? Is it that you want to reduce physical tension and pain? Is it that you want to find more time to be with friends? Is it that you want to have better ways of communicating with your partner, your children, your friends, whatever? Is it that you want to make a decision about your career? Is it that you want a career change, a sea change, a reduction in anxiety? What is it that you want? This is where we have to be a little bit curious, right? This is not about how do you want to be better. This is more about like, what is it that you want to experience that in this point in time, you feel like you can't experience given the situation, tools, and resources that you have. Then step 3 is to look for and get the right support. Now that could be in any kind of format, right? So support can sometimes be asking friends for help. It can sometimes be getting professional support through counseling, therapy. It can sometimes be reading different information, listening to certain podcasts, getting information about skills that will be useful to lead you towards what it is you want. When we want something to change and we don't know how to do it, then there's a really good chance that getting support from somebody who can help you, or information that is different to the information that you have, is going to move you in that direction more than, just trying to fumble in the dark. And then number 4 is that we have to do something differently using that new information, the new support structures, the carrot that we've, found to dangle in front of our face of like, this is what I'm moving towards. This is the value that I want to move towards. And here's the thing about this tip or this step, this doing something differently. We cannot expect it to be easy or comfortable. There's a very good chance that when we want something to change, we're already uncomfortable, right? But from a brain point of view, it's still easier to keep doing what we've always done. It's efficient and it's known. So when it comes to doing something differently with the new information, the new support structures, the new skills that we're developing, that is a conscious choice that will require some effort and may well be uncomfortable. And that's why having the support structures in place can be so valuable. It's one thing to try to learn these skills on our own. It's another thing to reach out for help and say, I need like some support, literal support through this because I know it's hard. And then number 5 is that we rinse and repeat. And that is continuing to show up for the different way of thinking, the different way of behaving, the different way of acting, the different way of meeting ourselves with that support. And the support may change over time. And continuing to recognize that every step along the way, you are doing your best. And at any point along that path, you can decide that there are new skills, new tools, new ways of supporting yourself and being supported that would help you to move towards what it is that you want with more skill and more of what you want. And so, yes, we can be doing our best. And yes, we can acknowledge that our best is all we've got in that moment. And we can still see ways that we would like things to change. Not because we're not good enough, not because we're a problem, but because we know that as growing, evolving, changing human beings, that is part and parcel of getting to know ourselves better, of continuing to navigate this world with more curiosity. And that's it. That's the 5 tips. Do you think you are doing your best? Having compassion for yourself if you're like, oh, I'm willing to try that on as an idea, and yet somehow my best still doesn't seem good enough. Meet yourself with compassion. Get clear on what it is that you want, not because you're trying to be good, but because you want to move towards your values, because you want to move towards a certain way of feeling, being, and relating. Come and share your thoughts with me. You know I love to hear from you. You'll find me over on Instagram. I'm at Erica Webb _SelfKind. I would love to hear what you think. Do you think you are trying your best, doing your best with what you've got? And can you move towards what it is that you want with that kindness, with that compassion, and with the support that you need? Until next week, keep being curious and kind, and I will talk to you soon.